Welcome back to Trading 360. I'm Diane King Hall. Time for the 360 round. We're taking a look at CrowdStrike after its Investor Day. For that, I want to bring in our panel. We've got Alex Hamerstone, Advisory Solutions Director, Trusted Sec, and Joseph Bonner, Senior Analyst, Argus Research. So shares of CrowdStrike higher today, following its Investor Day and also the broader market higher. Alex, let's start with you. What are your takeaways from its Investor Day this week?
I don't think ever surprised to see it go up. It's a product that people really like. They do a great job, and people are very comfortable with it. They know it well. It's always interesting to me, obviously given the outage that was recent, there's really no rhyme nor reason in all my years of doing this and being around IT about what seems to have an effect and what people keep in their memories versus what people are willing to move on for, right? The news cycle seems to get shorter and shorter, and people are happy to stay with products that they like, even if they have a hiccup here and there.
Joseph, obviously, Alex just mentioned the news cycle gets shorter, but I don't think everyone has forgotten about the outage that it had, especially when you look at a chart about where CrowdStrike was in July, leading into that to where it is now. What are your takeaways from its Investor Day?
Sure. Nobody likes to be known about for a bug, right? However, with the next year, what we're seeing with CrowdStrike is making it right for the customer. They got this whole package of things like discounts and payment terms, flexible payment terms, professional services. But giving 13 months for 12 months. It's kind of a package of things that okay, it'll affect revenue, it'll affect margin, but basically it's making the customer whole, making it right for the customer. So I think that's gone a long way toward we really haven't seen mass defections of customers or anything from CrowdStrike. Again, going back to that basic point of the technology being something that people are comfortable using, and people it's a very competitive technology.
And then, Alex, I want to go back to you. You talked about memories being short, but what occurred with the outage caused some customers to move over to competitors and take a look at competitors. What do you think the positioning CrowdStrike, can it maintain or recover its leadership positioning?
I really think one of the challenges is really, as you see really these contractions with budgets and staffing and everything else, I think companies like Palo Alto that have the platformization approach are really going to be successful with that. I talk to a lot of organizations, really of all sizes and sophistications. And when you look at what they're thinking about, what they're talking about, a lot of it is kind of one-stop shopping, right? The contracting process is going to be difficult and so on and so forth. And certainly somebody that's able to have a broader range of services and be that one-stop shop is always going to be very attractive. So I think for CrowdStrike, continue to look into that type of thing, seeing how they can offer more additional services, would be extremely helpful for them.
And then I want to ask Joseph, so there was some favorable commentary after their Investor Day from different analysts, and they look like they're standing by CrowdStrike. And they said, look, the landscape looks more favorable than expected for CrowdStrike. What's your thought on that?
Yes, certainly. Again, getting back to this idea of the technology that you don't want to change your cybersecurity your posture very often, right? And again, it had this hiccup, but the technology is still working. There are companies like Palo Alto that are real competitors, but there's not a lot of companies that have the breadth and depth of a CrowdStrike or a Palo Alto. There's a lot, there's a lot of single shot companies out there.
And then, Alex, I want to go back to you. In your view, has CrowdStrike fully recovered from the outage in July?
You have to define fully recovered, right? I think reputationally, and kind of what I hear on the ground, people are still pleased with the services. But, it's tough to know. It's because even if you get back to the previous levels, did it impede growth that could have happened? So that's a really tough, question to answer. But, just obviously, as the great points made earlier, is it is a product that people trust and it's working and people are still using it.
And then just a quick follow-up to you, Alex. Then you talked earlier again about short memories, but you also talked about the potential for competition from, say, Palo Alto, et cetera. What's the biggest risk to CrowdStrike going forward?
The market can be a little bit fickle sometimes, when you have a new competitor may come in with something groundbreaking. But, as the industry really shakes out, it's kind of falling into a number of large providers that are well known. And so I think that's going to be a challenge always. But really, I think any company really that's able to do that one-stop shop is going to be a threat to any company that's not able to do it.
And then, Joseph, I'll give you the last word on CrowdStrike and your view on how they perform through the balance of the year. They stuck by the expectation for the hit that they're expected to take with regard to that outage. They have some lawsuits coming at them. What's your view on how CrowdStrike, Joseph, performs through the balance of the year?
Sure. It's interesting that there's not really a lot of lawsuits coming at them. Some shareholder suits, perhaps. But they're sticking by that number. What I'd like to think about is they've stuck by the number for this year, but these programs that they have are going to last for the next year. So we're talking about the first 6 months of next year that really are going to be affected also, and we don't really know what how that's going to play out. So. I think thinking about the future is a little bit of there's not a lot of visibility there.
All right, thinking about the future, but today, right now, shares of CrowdStrike higher, and they've been on the move ever since that outage. So we'll see what happens if memories are indeed short. We have Alex Hamerstone, Trusted Sec, and Joseph Bonner, Argus Research. Thank you both for joining us here on Trading 360.